Welcome to the Honor the Gift podcast. I am your host, Art McCracken. I specialize in transformational leadership and high-performance coaching. I've worked with hundreds of companies and thousands of individuals along the way, helping them achieve greater outcomes in all aspects of their life. I'm a speaker and writer, but at the end of the day, none of that holds a candle to being a husband, father, and friend. I believe the greatest gift in our mortal existence is the gift of choice. How we honor that gift will shape the eternities. I also believe that career is a way of being and not just a way of life. And when you figure that out, by learning to let go of the charades and leaning into growth, life just seems to unlock itself. I know this because I've lived it. Quite simply, my calling is people experience living true. Thank you for being here. Thank you for making the commitment to lean into growth. I honor your journey. Now, let's do this. Hello, my friends. Welcome to another weekly episode. This week, the topic is true leadership. Those of you that know me know that I am a studier of leadership and the human dynamic. My personal definition of leadership is simply having impact and influence. It occurred to me recently and came as clear as a bell that true leadership begins the day others stop following you. Let me repeat that statement. True leadership begins the day others stop following you. It's easy to lead others when they tangentially follow or are busy enough in their own reality and contribution. When those you lead no longer have an interest in following you or become hypocritical of your very presence, that is when the true test of leadership is administered. It will rock you to the core and often comes late in the game as it's been camouflaged behind a deeply seated ego and positional arrogance that often veils the harsh reality that there is significant work to be done if we are to rebuild the trust and rapport needed to truly have a lasting impact in the lives of those we serve. So what do we do with this? Last week, we talked about the necessity of candid feedback, that last 10%. And the humility required of one willing to adjust their sail to become more effective in the service of those in their care. What if that candid feedback entrusted in your care says that you're controlling, confusing, unclear, disconnected, untrusting, not committed to the result, and even a bully at times, full of self-serving ego? What if this feedback hits you square in the jaw and knocks you to the mat? What if this moment, without even asking, reveals to you that you are doing more damage than good and that ultimately your leadership stinks? Welcome to the classroom called life. You'll find that a good leader takes you for who you are, understands clearly where you can go, and then helps facilitate your journey toward your highest potential. In his book titled 12 Rules for Life, Jordan Peterson explains that it is the greatest temptation of rational faculty to glorify its own capacity and its own productions, and to claim that in the face of its theories, nothing transcendent or outside its domain need exist. This means that all important facts have been discovered. This means that nothing important remains unknown. But most importantly, it means denial of the necessity for courageous individual confrontation with being. He goes on by posing the question, what is going to save you? The totalitarian says, in essence, you must rely on faith in what you already know, but that is not what saves. What saves is the willingness to learn from what you don't know. That is faith in the possibility of human transformation. That is faith in the sacrifice of current self for the self that could be. I believe we do this by taking thought for the future and of the path ahead, by owning the decisions of the present. I believe that if we humbly deny our own ego, that our mind will be enriched and that we will be thoughtfully administered to by the Spirit when we move into the unknown with our best efforts. It's those moments that growth comes more readily and new insights become illuminated. Hello, friends. Thank you for tuning in. Hope you're enjoying this week's episode. If growth, personal growth and development is your thing, and you're here learning and leaning into growth, glad you're here, glad you're part of the community. If you want more of this,
make sure and hit subscribe in this podcast platform or any of your favorite podcast platforms. Search for Honor the Gift podcast and make sure and subscribe so that it shows up each week with new updates, new conversations, new learning, new ideas and concepts, again, to help us all in this journey we call growth and how we make it through life and the way that we show up for others. Also, if you are looking for more information, deeper dives into some of these conversations, and just an update to stay in the loop, you can always go to choiceisthegift.com and click on subscribe, where you'll be in the loop on things that are upcoming and more updates on this podcast. Again, thank you for being here. Now let's get back to the episode.
You see, when those that you thought were following you no longer want to follow you, that's when it becomes real. That's when the begged question of leadership hits us square in the face, says, what are you going to do with that? How are you going to lead? You have a responsibility. You have a role. You have a stewardship that counts on you to show up bigger than yourself. So in closing, I'd like to share one of my favorite quotes from Simon Sinek. He said, leadership is not about being in charge. Leadership is about taking care of those in your charge. Leadership is not about you. Leadership is fundamentally designed and annotated to be the act of serving another in their journey to live into their divine potential. If you find yourself on the other side of the reflection pool, staring at your own image, seeing clearly the opportunity to dig in and truly honor the impact and influence you have on others, go all in. The promise of leadership is that it will test you every day. There is no reward, as leadership can't ever be about you. Your life, however, will be greatly enriched as you see others lean into their own levels of contribution and service to others. Remember that true leadership begins the day others stop following you. When you get there, and you will, don't run, let the work commence. Your people are your people. Lead them. Until next week, my friends, make it a great one, and remember to always honor the gift.